A popular belief among students of the Book of Mormon is that somehow the Nephite civilization was associated with the Hopewell culture in the area they call the Heartland. However, this theory is flawed in many ways and is a very poor defense for the Book of Mormon. In this episode of Discovering the Book of Mormon Through Science and Exploration, we will see why this theory is problematic on many levels. Here are 5 straightforward reasons why the Heartland model should be discarded. 1. Based on false DNA claims. The Heartlanders would have us believe that there is credible DNA evidence supporting the idea that the ancestors of the Indians of northeastern United States came to the New World by sea from Europe. This notion is completely false. It is true that perhaps 1/3 of Native American genetic markers came from Europe, but they reached the Americas by way of Asia, not by sea from Europe. Current DNA research indicates that the European haplotype Y found in Native Americans originated in south-central Siberia, near Lake Baikal. It was there that the ancient Europeans mixed with the Asians before their posterity moved on to the Americas. If Y does not work, try X. Heartlanders propose arguments that the finding of the haplotype X gene in Native Americans is evidence that Lehi's family's genes came from what is today France. This claim is completely baseless. Genetic research indicates that the haplotype X found in Native Americans is again from an Asian subgroup of haplotype X, and not from the subgroup found in the remains of human bones in France. Finally, the Jaredites nor the Lehites came from France. Having originated in Mesopotamia and Palestine, both groups were from DNA genetic groups from the Near East. 2. The use of fraudulent artifacts. To support their theories, the Heartlanders present relics they claim were found in the Heartland states that show that a Judaic-Christian society once existed there. Known as the Michigan relics, these dubious relics have been proven over and over again to be fake, including analysis by Brigham Young University. The manufacturing of these fake artifacts has been investigated and shown to have been created by fraudulers. If you believe otherwise, please watch the YouTube video, The Controversy Surrounding the Michigan Relics Explained. The Michigan Relics, Real History. The presentation respectfully includes the arguments of the Heartlanders, but concludes the obvious. The relics are fakes. 3. Misrepresents the Nephite civilization. Since the Book of Mormon was published in 1830, there have been literally tens of thousands of archaeological excavations in the American heartland. Just within the U.S. National Park System, there are 80,000 registered excavation sites. The state of North Carolina alone has nearly 50,000 registered archaeological sites. Yet, there is no archaeological evidence that would lead any serious scholar to believe that a Nephite-like civilization existed in the heartland before the arrival of Columbus. The Nephites were a sophisticated civilization. They had a central government with kings and chief judges. They built great cities, such as the city of Nephi, Zarahemla, and Bountiful. Most important, they worshipped the Lord Jesus Christ. According to the Smithsonian Institute, Hopewell was a prehistoric culture that existed between 500 BC and 600 AD. They built no cities. They had no central government. They were groups of far-flung tribes that traded with each other. They worshipped natural forces and the deity who the anthropologists called the Spider Woman or the Moon Goddess. Well, there might be arguments among choir members as to what some church leaders said or how many Hill Cumorahs there were. In reality, there is no evidence that a Nephite civilization ever existed in North America. Here is a short list of some of the features of a Nephite civilization that never existed in North America. Gold. The Nephites had gold in abundance. The fact is, there was no gold smelting in the Heartland during Book of Mormon times. Gold plates. The Book of Mormon was written on gold plates. Without gold plates, no one in the ancient Heartland could have written the Book of Mormon. Silver, copper, and iron. The Nephites worked these metals and others. Truth, there has never been found a smelter in the Heartland that dates to the Book of Mormon era. The only metals the Hopewell knew was surface copper that they hammered into breastplates and jewelry. A written language. Again, the Smithsonian Institute classifies Hopewell as a prehistoric culture. There is no evidence of a written language having existed in the pre-Columbian Heartland. Domesticated animals. The Nephites were a pastoral society. Hopewell was a horticultural society. The Book of Mormon mentions sheep 14 times, herds 22 times, and shepherds 17 times. The only domesticated animals the Hopewell culture had were dogs. Further, there has never been found the remains of horses, pigs, or goats in the Heartland that dates to the times of the Jaredites or Nephites. Silk and costly apparel. It would be a far stretch to believe that buckskin or cloth made of nettle or hemp fiber could be considered silk. Temples like King Solomon's. The Nephite temples were built after the manner of King Solomon's, that is, with courtyards, rooms, seats, and at times filled with gold objects. The dirt mounds of the Hopewell people would have never been considered a temple by the Nephites. A massive highway network. The Nephites built many highways. Their highways ran from city to city and from land to land and from place to place. The only road built by the Hopewell ran for only 60 miles and was certainly not a highway network. Pacific Ocean maritime tradition. Haga sailed north from the Nephite lands. LDS church leaders have taught that the Hawaiian people have within them the seed of the people of Hagoth. The Heartland Indians had no tradition of building ocean-going ships. They were thousands of miles away from the Pacific Ocean and would have needed to sail south, not north, to reach Hawaii. Sunk, buried, and burned cities. After Christ's crucifixion, many Nephite cities were sunk, buried, and burned. There is no record of such cities found in the Hopewell culture, nor could there be since they didn't have cities. One can fantasize all they want about the Hopewell Indian culture, but the truth is, a sophisticated Nephite-like civilization never existed in the Heartland during Book of Mormon times. 4. Misleading teachings about the beliefs of early church leaders. Heartlanders try to rewrite LDS history to try to show that early church leaders believed that the Nephites had their civilization in North America. However, nothing could be further from the truth. B.H. Roberts reminds us that the dominant belief among the early church leaders was that Joseph Smith taught that Lehi landed in South America. As early as 1830, LDS missionaries were teaching that principle. President Harold B. Lee, when still a member of the Quorum of the 12, stated, quote, "From the writings of the prophet Joseph Smith and of other inspired men, it seems that all are in agreement that the followers of Lehi came to the western shores of South America." End quote. 5. Distorting the definition of land of promise. Heartlanders equate the Book of Mormon land of promise to only the United States of America. While this is a very patriotic notion, It is not correct. Indeed, it is offensive to many members who live in Canada, Latin America, and other parts of the world. The LDS Church has always taught that the New World land of promise includes all of the Western Hemisphere. We read from the Church's official website, quote, "Often in the Book of Mormon, the promised land spoken of is the Americas." I believe that there are at least two reasons why the Heartland model should be shelved forever. First, it misleads young believers who will one day be confronted with the facts. How will they react when they learn the truth? Will they feel betrayed, having been taught such nonsense by those they trusted? Second, teaching that the Nephite-like civilization existed in the heartland of the United States gives anti-Mormons the opportunity to mock genuine Book of Mormon scholarships. It's a giant step backwards, not forward, in Book of Mormon scholarship. I say to the Heartland model, move aside. If one wants a serious, qualified candidate for the Jaredite and Nephite civilizations, I say look to Peru. Discover more about the Book of Mormon by subscribing to this channel. Or you can visit our website, christinperu.com. That's one word, christinperu.com, where you can learn about our books and also our tours to Peru. Thank you.